somebody come get her. Oh.
This is Audible. Welcome to Klapp After Hours. This is a show where we either
Offend
or recommend. And tonight we're going to be talking about movies you should watch if you're a scaredy cat.
Yes.
Let me give you an example. When Portia and I first started dating, she was like, I'm obsessed with horror movies, Michael. Will you please watch one with me? And I was like, okay, just pick one. Pick one you think I'd like, but go easy on me. So she picked Sinister.
That was my biggest regret in our relationship.
Sinister. Sinister is about a boogeyman who lays a whole family out on the lawn and then runs them over with a lawnmower.
Yeah, the boogeyman like just makes children kill their families, and they're all filmed, and you get to watch it. I've got my wine glass full of Diet Dr. Pepper, so I'm ready to settle in and just enjoy myself and talking about scary movies. Mm-hmm. My favorite thing to talk about. Portia's got her Dr. Pepper, and I have my heartburn from the pizza we ate for dinner. We both have things. It's going to be a bubbly night.
It's going to be a...
But so my first one would be Scream. Is that on your list?
Scream is on my list.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about that.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Go ahead. Why do you think it's a good one for scaredy cats?
I feel like that one's just like a good... like Halloween flick that everyone can watch. Mm-hmm. It's like very campy, and I feel like most like campy horror films they're surreal enough that it's like, oh, this is silly. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
So I feel like with some of the older movies that are out there, you know, like the classic horror movies, mm-hmm. they're still scary, don't get me wrong, but they're almost not as scary because the special effects are like a little hokey and like mm-hmm. a little lame. So Don't get me wrong, like Halloween and
I think Halloween is scarier.
And Freddy Krueger and stuff are scary, but I wouldn't recommend them to a scaredy cat, but mm-hmm. I think you could survive. Yeah. No pun intended.
Yeah.
But I think
I channel old Michael who absolutely would not watch scary movies. So I go, I'm like, if I could go back to that night that you were like, let's watch something scary. And I was like, oh, I just watched this great one. And I didn't really think about how it would affect you as someone who like does not watch scary movies. So.
No, I was, how do you say, a little bitch.
There's a lot that I still watch on my own without you.
Right.
Basically.
I'll tell you, here's my rule. I'm like, is there hope at the end? Mm-hmm. Okay. Also, I'm cool with like it. It's like this really creepy clown, super scary, right? But the kids can fight back. They learned how to fight back. That's like one of the reasons why I'm okay watching it. Mm-hmm. I'm not recommending that. Don't go watch that. That's a little bit above. That's an intermediate scary movie.
Yeah.
But I don't like movies like Hereditary. Don't get me wrong. A work of art.
That movie is very scary.
A true work of horror. But
too scary.
It will mentally destroy you. So, okay, so Scream. The reason why I like Scream is because the killer in the movie likes scary movies, and so they're kind of like mm-hmm. making fun of scary movies. It's like, what's your favorite scary movie?
Yeah, it's like I feel like all the horror movie tropes are like kind of in that.
Right. Yeah.
In a really fun way.
Mm-hmm. Plus, it's so iconic with the Scream mask and everything. Like, mm-hmm. I feel like it's a good one.
Dude, I like still can remember in my mind going like trick-or-treating or like having school parades and stuff, mm-hmm. and so many kids wore the Scream mask.
Yeah, it was super popular.
Or Ghostface, I guess. Ghostface.
Okay, let me give my second one. This one's my OG scary movie for scaredy cats. Disturbia. Is that on your list?
Surprisingly, that's not, because I knew you were going to put it on yours.
Okay.
At least once a year, I beg Michael to watch Disturbia with me.
It's true.
That's probably your least favorite thing about me.
That's not true. Disturbia, classic Shia LaBeouf flick. Mm-hmm. It is horror. I would say it's part of the horror genre, but I would say it is on the side of suspense, which a lot of my picks are more on the side of suspense. Yeah.
I would definitely say that's a horror film.
Yeah, like I said, I would rank it as a horror film, but mm-hmm. it's 80% suspense, 20% horror probably.
Yeah.
very scary, but like I said, there's
it's like a modern Rear Window situation.
Exactly. So it's about this young man who gets in trouble, has kind of a difficult upbringing. He loses his father, and he has to have an ankle monitor, so he can't go anywhere. So he ends up watching his neighbor, and his neighbor's very creepy. And I'm gonna leave it at that. There's also some romance.
Yeah, I was like, we won't do any spoilers, but
I have always not really liked horror films. Portia's warmed me up to them. But for whatever reason, this one girl that I was hot for was like, let's go to a movie. Let's go see Disturbia. And it was like me and my buddy Austin and his date, and then me and my date.
You saw it in theaters?
We saw it in theaters.
I wish I had seen that in theaters.
I was literally like standing in my seat. Like,
because you were scared.
Like, turn around. You know, it wasn't it wasn't like a full house. I wasn't being annoying.
Yeah.
But
you're just like yelling at him because you're like, you're being dumb.
It was an experience.
That's funny. I don't think we've ever talked about that.
Yeah, it was fun. It's like one of those moments where you're like curled into your date and then you're also sweating and you're like, why am I doing this?
Oh, yeah, dude.
Why am I doing this?
Yeah.
See
and then Scream
like.
is just about a serial killer named Ghostface. It's been a long week, everybody. What time is it?
It has been a long week.
I've been working on potty training a lot today, so I think it's been a hard day for me.
How many pairs of underwear did Shiloh go through today?
We went through about 5.
5 pairs of underwear.
Mm-hmm.
She's a saint, ladies and gentlemen. Okay.
I also went through 5 pairs of underwear. Okay, so my second one is Cabin in the Woods.
Ooh, I was gonna put Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. I looked up a few lists of like not so scary movies, and that was one of them.
Yeah.
Do you want to give a little synopsis?
Yeah, so that one, I'd say that's one of my favorite scary movies because it's just about sort of like Scream. It like pokes fun at like traditional things in horror films, and it's basically just a group of like haughty friends stay in a cabin in the woods, and then things just start happening.
That's right.
And then
Featuring
movie's
Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah, that movie's funny because it totally has the whole trope of like they have a friend who's a druggie, there's a friend who's really smart,
there's a jock,
and then like the cheerleader,
right?
And then so it's like it's just funny because I'm like, would those people really all be hanging out together? You know?
Yeah.
But
that's a great one if you're like, if you are just, I don't know, would you recommend it if you're just getting started into scary movies?
I would, because I was also thinking about this too, because I'm like, I would say this, my list is for like scaredy cat adults, because I know sometimes people want to like look for movies they can watch with like their kids.
Yeah,
some things I wouldn't necessarily recommend for kids to
want
watch.
a recommendation for your kids? Hocus Pocus. Watch Hocus Pocus.
Well, one of mine actually I would recommend for kids, so you'll see about that.
Okay.
Because I watched it as a child. But fun fact about Cabin in the Woods, or funny story, I guess. I went over to a boy's house once when I was in high school.
Oh.
And we wanted to watch a scary movie, you know, so that you can cuddle and be scared together. And we put this in, and we were just like, I was like, I didn't really know anything about it, so I was like, oh, we're gonna get all cuddly and scared, and we were just like dying laughing at it the whole time.
Yeah.
And at first we were kind of like, this is so bad, but then we were like, oh, it's like trying to be.
Right.
So at first we didn't really, we were almost gonna like turn it off because we were like, this seems like a pretty bad scary movie, but it's meant to just be like funny and like weird and poke fun at like all of the stereotypes.
Yeah, I like it for that reason. I think it also has one of the best. The final scene, y'all should just watch it and then come chat with me about it afterward, because it's fun. It's very, very fun. Yeah.
I remember going to a lot of scary movies in theaters and being like, because here's my thing is like, everyone's like, oh, so you just don't get scared? And I'm like, no, I get scared, but I just like how that feels, I guess. Because I will be like covering my eyes, or like my sisters made fun of me.
Listen, it's a thrill ride. It's a thrill ride.
It's adrenaline. I'm still scared.
Yeah, why do people like to go on roller coasters? Why do people like to hang from the top of Supreme Scream? Because it's freaking scary.
Yeah, but it's funny because I feel like I always take out one of the senses when I'm getting too overwhelmed.
Like,
so I'll plug my ears or kind of cover my eyes. Or my trick is like look at the corner of the TV.
Ooh, that's good.
So that it's in your peripheral. Because I still like want to see what's going on, but I'm also like, I'm really scared. But
that's a hot tip.
Yeah, my sisters made fun of me last time we went to Halloween Horror Nights because I pulled out earplugs. But when it's too much sensory, I feel like I just zoom through because I'm like freaking out.
You don't enjoy it. I liked your tip about looking at the corner of the screen. Sometimes I'll like look around not around the room, but like I'll look at I'll be like, okay, remember that this is just a television hanging on a wall.
Yeah.
I'm just in my nice cozy house. Nothing is scary.
Yeah.
Okay, let me get my next one. Okay. Do you want a funny one next, or do you want a serious one next?
It's up to you.
My next one is I'll do a funny one. It's called Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
That's a good one.
Yeah, is that on your list?
No.
Okay, Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
I would say that's on the higher end.
Right. Gore warning for that. There's definitely a lot of blood.
Yeah.
But it's so hokey that if you're squeamish, don't watch it. But if it's so hokey, it'll make you laugh. It'll make you laugh. It's like one of those things where it's like so much blood that you're like, that's not even. Anyway.
Also that one, you don't really want to explain it because
I won't explain
there's like too many spoilers if you like say certain
Go look
things,
up the trailer and go look up the lead actor. I forget who his name is. It's basically just it's
really fun.
These two dumb idiots are out at a cabin and chaos ensues. This is so the first time I watched Tucker and Dale versus Evil, we were at my brother's house in Washington, and he was like, have you ever seen this movie? And I was like, dude, I hate horror movies. He's like, you're going to like this one. And I did.
Yeah, thank you, Max Klapp, for showing that to us.
Shout out Max Klapp for showing that to us. Okay, your next one.
This one is a fun one. This is actually the movie we watched after. It was the same night we watched Sinister. And I was like, well, why don't we just like watch one that's not as scary to like make you feel better?
Lighten the mood.
And it is called The Watcher in the Woods.
I remember that. I
want to watch that with you again. Because you already were having the worst night of your life when I showed this to you. So I don't think you were like, even you couldn't appreciate it because you were like, this woman has scarred me for life. And I'm backtracking a little. Do I want to be with her?
Do I want to marry this woman for the rest of my life? I'm not sure.
Watcher in the Woods, Disney movie. It's definitely not like any Disney movie you've ever seen. It's basically just about this family who moves to, of course, a very creepy house. And strange things happen because they're near an area that some weird occult things happened. Ooh. So they're kind of haunted and some weird. It's honestly pretty creepy. This was the one I was going to say maybe you could watch with kids. Just depends on your kid though, because I watched this when I was younger. Because my parents, it's cute. My parents don't really like scary movies, but they have like a handful of movies they always watch around Halloween.
Yeah.
And that's one of them.
This is one of them.
Mm-hmm. I was pretty nervous the first time I watched it though. It's genuine. It's also one of those movies where it's old, so it's like the vibes make it a little bit creepier, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
And the special effects are pretty bad, but like. There's definitely some very creepy, and Betty Davis is in it. She's like a witch kind of. Yeah,
I remember watching that with you and being like, it was very like some of the effects that happen in it feel like kind of Star Wars-y.
Yes, like laser-ish looking.
Yeah,
like it looks like they just put like a screen over the like film.
Right.
Like it's very disconnected.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it's actually happening over there.
Yeah.
Which once again,
this looks like an afterthought.
Brings me back around to the idea of the older films kind of work better if you're a scaredy cat because you can look past some of the.
As you're watching, you're like, this is definitely not real because I can see the cameraman in the back. It is interesting though how it's like sometimes scary movies that are old aren't scary because they're old, and then some older scary movies like it makes it scarier because it's old. Well, I was just thinking of quickly Texas Chainsaw.
Oh, that one's horrible.
Because that's just horrible. Like
I mean, it's
the vibes and like the look alone make it. Michael, that's one Michael actually has never watched, and I wouldn't recommend it to anyone who is a scaredy cat.
I've been through the house at Halloween Horror Nights, and I've seen enough.
Yeah, you're like, I'm good.
Seen enough. I have a feeling you're gonna be like, Michael, don't recommend this one, but
let's see.
It's the Swedish version of Let the Right One In.
I have that on my list.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I almost took it off, but then I was like, no. I feel like it's definitely something for adults. Mm-hmm. There's kids in it, but it's not. I wouldn't recommend kids watching it.
You showed it to me. I think we both watched it together with some friends when we were in college.
Your friend Zach showed it to us.
It was really early on in our relationship, and I was able to like watch it.
You'd watch some other stuff before then.
This was back in the day when I did not like scary movies or anything.
Was still very.
But anyway,
I'd be watching American Horror Story under the covers when we'd go to bed.
Okay, so let me explain. Let me explain the the plots a little bit. So, it's basically about a little boy who
is it Polish or Swedish?
Polish or Swedish, one of those. Yeah. Little boy lives in an apartment complex, runs into a little girl, and
there's also some killings that have been happening in the town.
There's some killings that have been happening in the town, and it's a little bit of like a coming of age, a little bit of a falling in love story.
But it's also horror.
But it's also horror.
I'd say that's one of the more beautiful horror films I've seen.
Yeah, it was really beautiful. Practical effects. Practical meaning not a lot of CGI or anything.
No.
It's like it's kind of done in camera, which is really cool.
I feel like this one's a very like drama horror.
Yeah.
Because it's like you said, coming of age. These kids are like so cute in it. Mm-hmm. But then, there's some like family strife and like some things.
One of the best.
What?
I'm like, this is for scaredy cats, but I'm also like, one of the best kill scenes I've ever seen. Like,
you'll have to tell me after. It's been a while since I've watched that.
We can bleep out whatever we want.
I remember being obsessed with it, but I've only seen it the one time, so I've definitely forgotten a lot.
Oh, it's incredible. I really like it.
Yeah, and that one's so... That one does have some gore.
Some gore for sure, and subtitles. Yeah. So if you're not into subtitles, that's a no. Also, this was one of those books rated... Or not books. This is one of those movies rated that the movie's better than the book. Don't you remember?
Oh yeah, I forgot it's a book.
There was a list of like, here are some movies that are actually better than the book, and this was.
I still want to read that though.
This was the one that was rated.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead and do your next one.
Okay. Oh, okay. So this is going to be my last one because Let the Right One In was my last.
Should we take a minute? Should we have some Oreos?
Oh sure.
Yeah, I think we should have some Oreos.
This video is sponsored by Oreos. Get your cream on. Oh, somebody come get her. She's dancing like a stripper. Hey, the remix. Oh. For intermission, I will just be singing the theme song of Goosebumps. Dun 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 dun. Diddle-diddle-lee.
Special treat ASMR. Son of... Before we give our last scary movies, just if we've forgotten something, which we have, go ahead and just throw down your favorite scary movie for Scaredy Cats down in the comments.
Okay, so my last one is The Craft. Have you watched that with me?
I haven't watched The Craft, but it has that iconic goth girl in it, right? Mm-hmm.
You don't even exist to me.
Ooh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what that line is from. And the other one is like, another famous line from that is, "We're the weirdos, mister."
Oh.
Because they're like getting on a bus. He's like, "There's a lot of weirdos out there." And she's like, "We're the weirdos, mister."
Oh.
I love that.
I like that. I only know that girl because of her iconic role, but also because she was in Waterboy, and she was one of his love attractions.
I haven't seen that, but she was in Return to Oz, which I would consider a horror film for children.
Dude, is that the one with like the roller skating?
Yes.
Crazy.
Yes.
No.
And like
that movie made me feel so uncomfortable.
And the like queen lady who has like heads, like a hallway of heads, and she can switch out her head. That movie, first time we ever watched it, we had like gotten it from the library and we were all excited, and just me and my sisters were watching it downstairs. Those wheelie guys came and my sisters like ran away. Like they ran upstairs and I was like down there and I was like, someone needs to pause the movie, but I'm just paralyzed. I'm so scared. I think a lot of millennials' trauma comes from what like things people thought were appropriate for children. Like there's so many cartoons as well.
Yeah.
That I'm like, I would not show this to Shiloh.
Yeah.
This is horrifying.
My last one, funny story about this. My last one is What Lies Beneath.
I was going to put that.
Fun story about this one. I was on a choir retreat because I was part of the cool kids.
Yes, you were. Choir's cool.
Choir is cool. So I okay, so I was on a choir retreat. We were up in Big Bear, which is a mountain near us, a local mountain. We were staying in a cabin, and they're like, "Oh, let's all watch a scary movie together." And the choir directors were like, "Oh, we have one. Let's watch What Lies Beneath." And I was being such a little. I remember being like, I don't really want to watch it. And one of the choir directors came over to me and was like, "Why didn't you want to watch the movies with us?" And I was like, "I just feel like it drives the spirit away." Mm-hmm. And he goes, "I'm not trying to feel the spirit when I'm watching What Lies Beneath." And I was like, good point. So, and there was a cute girl there that I wanted to sit next to and watch it with. So it all worked out. But
you liked girls before me.
Next question.
You don't even exist to me. Disclaimer.
I'm sorry. I need to go change my pants.
That's one of my favorites too.
Yeah.
That's
What
good.
Lies Beneath is has Harrison Ford, right?
Yes.
Harrison Ford, Michelle Pfeiffer. This one might be my number one.
Yeah.
This one might be my number one. Anyway, it's, I would say 90% suspense, 10% horror, because there's like some kind of mystical elements to it. There's some, yeah.
It's like supernatural.
There we go. Not mystical, supernatural elements.
Mystical creatures.
There's some mystical creatures.
This is my ASMR. Mystical creatures.
Some mystical creatures.
Oh, shoot. Who's going to see a mystical creature?
Maybe you, if you play your cards right.
I'm interested to look back on this footage because I feel like I look like a turtle. Just like hunched into my shell right now. So this video is going to be very telling of like what I need to not do next time we do this.
Hey, this is Klapp After Hours, right? What Lies Beneath? Harrison Ford, Michelle Pfeiffer. It's a mystery of, there's some haunting, chilling things going on in this woman's house, and she's trying to figure it out. Meanwhile, some unexplained things are happening, and she's trying to figure it out.
In other words,
mystery.
Spirits are in her house, and she's trying to figure it out.
I know, I don't want to give too much away.
She feels a ghostly presence.
She feels
she's
a
trying
ghostly.
to figure it out.
She feels like.
No, it's very supernatural, and there's some mystery because I'm like, it's hard not to give away.
We don't want to give away plot
points.
Anyway, I think we can all agree that there's some supernatural stuff happening to her, and
she needs to figure it out.
Yeah. Okay, great.
That just sounds like my life, you know. There's definitely some supernatural things going on. I'm just trying to figure it out at the end of the day. This has been a delightful evening.
This is our top 8 scary movies for scaredy cats. Thank you so much for joining us. This is a series on my channel that we're calling Klapp After Hours. And it's going to be mixed in with Stressed Out and with Try Me and with with the other things I'm working on. But we'll have this lovely guest star with us, Portia Marie Loosely Klapp.
I will be your only guest.
You will be my only guest. Send help. And thank you guys for watching Klapp After Hours. a show where we offend.
Or recommend.
I'm Michael.
I'm Portia. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Ew. Goodbye. Bye. You guys want to hear my ankle?
I can do that too. Make a beat with me, right?
That's enough. That's enough. Thank you. Goodbye.